Peace. I am some guy named Lee from Buffalo, New York, and I just put up a chair with Terrell Thomas. These Urban Times.
Terrell Thomas, These Urban Times, and today for episode 6 of Pull Up a Chair, we have a gentleman that's pulling up from Buffalo, New York, representing Atlanta. A gentleman who I have the utmost respect for. I've been watching you grow in your career.
Appreciate that.
Watching you grow in your entrepreneurship, watching you grow in your artistry, your creativity. So it's great to be able to sit down and chat with you. We actually had a chance to speak during the pandemic, or in the beginning stages of the pandemic via Zoom. So it's dope to sit down and speak with you in person.
Yes.
If you don't know who this gentleman is, you're not familiar with his sound, his artistry, Some Guy Named Lee. How you feeling today, good sir?
I'm amazing. I can't complain. To yourself?
I'm great, man. It is a pleasure to sit down and chat with you. As I just mentioned, I have the utmost respect for you. Coming across so many artists and creatives throughout my journey, it's dope to meet a person who not only the passion, but the level of creativity, the devotion, the dedication. Seeing that, and shoot, you're still in the early stages of your process.
Just getting started.
So it is great to sit down and chat with you. But for those who aren't familiar with you yet and aren't familiar with your sound, Buffalo native down here in Atlanta, Georgia, doing your thing. Talk to me about Buffalo. Some folks already know, of course, about your Benny the Butchers and Griselda. We'll talk about that because you guys actually have a record together. So we'll talk about that eventually. But outside of those gentlemen, talk to me about Buffalo's music scene and what it was like for you growing up.
To be honest, they were the early stages even back then. They just didn't have the big platform. This is when mixtapes were still hot, so you can go to a bodega or corner store and go grab a D-Block versus Benny versus Dipset versus, they was Buff City at the time, Buff City versus Dipset. So they were the pioneers, but we really didn't have much of a hip-hop scene until recent. Like a lot of people who come from there doesn't necessarily rep Buffalo. You know what I mean? If they got on somewhere else, that was where they was from. So it's new, it's fresh. And I give you like a different perspective in terms of Buffalo. So they give you that street look. I'm of the streets, but I'm not, from the streets, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So it's like we all got those things, but I'll give you that other story.
Okay. A lot of times when people think of New York and you hear somebody say, oh, that's a New York rapper, or they from New York, cats going to immediately think of New York City, somewhere in the boroughs. Buffalo is, in a whole nother region of New York. Shoot, y'all close to Canada for real.
To be honest.
Niagara Falls and all that good life. What's life like in Buffalo?
You don't realize, I guess growing up, you don't realize that you're really in an area that is considered dangerous or low financially in terms of the amount of money and cash revenue there. So it's like any other thing. To me, you got creative people, you got people making the most of things. Didn't realize we were in an area until you start to come down here and you like, I understand. So black folks getting it.
I understand.
You know what I mean? It's not an envious thing. It's more like, oh man, I see him, I see her living in a nice house, driving a nice car, I can get it. Back home in Buffalo, you see somebody driving a nice car, somebody want that car. You know what I mean? So that's the realities, but it's a beautiful city. It's a beautiful city, has a lot of love there, but wherever you find low wages, you're gonna find crime, you're gonna find things that aren't necessarily the best reflection of the city, but it's definitely, I would say like any other city, just smaller.
Okay. When did your journey into music begin? Of course, coming from urban areas, we all tend, it's a part of our culture, it's in our blood, so you could say it's been since birth. But when did your journey begin, when you really felt like you could get your creative juices out, get your ideas and your thoughts out through music?
My mom got me a radio. I can't even remember what Christmas it was, and it had like a record button on it. So we'd just get cassette tapes and put it in there, and as young kids, you go over there and you just rapping a cappella to nothing. And then I figured out how to take the end of a beat and kind of loop it up. So now that I could record on this beat looped at the end, it didn't sound good, but that was my first. And then
how old were you? Around about?
Probably 9 or so.
Okay.
If that, but yeah, something around there. And then my mom went and bought me the Eminem album. So my neighbor, his
first John,
yeah, hi, my name is. So my neighbor made me. He was like, if you want this, I'll dub you a copy, but what you got to do is you got to rap for it. I'm like, man, I don't rap. So I went home and I wrote a rap, and I got the tape. But
respect.
That was my introduction to it.
Okay. A lot of people may not know, but if they dig deeper and even look into the picture right now. The color yellow is floating with you. It's an aura. Not only are you glowing and shining, young king,
Appreciate
you know
that.
what I'm saying? But,
Appreciate that.
But we see the yellow. We see the yellow shoestrings. We see the yellow on your shirt, yellow bandana. Shoot, it's even yellow surrounding us. What is it about you and the significance of the color yellow?
I just understand how important my music, first of all, is to inspire. So when I walk outside, I see a sunny day. I'm thinking I could take over the world that day. You know what I mean? It's nothing. I've never seen nobody step outside. It's beautiful, sunny. You're like, it's gonna be a fucked up day. No, this one is like you step outside, you see yellow. You can't help but to feel happy or positive or optimistic that something is gonna come out of this day or out of this, out of whatever you're going through at the moment.
That's real. I respect the hell out of that. From following you on social media, from having a chance to be around you, off and about before the pandemic and things of that nature, I do know that you're a father.
Yes.
And fatherhood plays a big role in what you do, plays a big role in your music, in your artistry. Talk to me about the impact of fatherhood, your relationship, with your kids, and how that helps your music.
It helps because it makes you have to be mindful of what you're saying. You know what I mean? Because they're going to do as you do, not as you necessarily say. So if I'm have to be authentic in my music, I have to be able to speak my story and let them know that they could be whatever they want. So it makes me conscious of what I'm rapping about, not to say that my music's clean or that it just makes it, I'm conscious, I'm aware of what I'm saying because I understand that they're likely repeating. And also, that low-key, they tastemakers for me. If I'm walking around trying to think of a hook, if I hear them bopping or catching, singing it later, I'm like, okay, I got one. Because they 4 and 6 years old. So if they can remember it, a grown person can remember it, and it's hooked now to them.
Those are facts.
For sure.
That might be some advice for indie artists to take right there.
For sure.
You get your kids,
I
your niece
accept
and
Cash
nephew.
App. I accept Cash App for that jewel.
Now, one of the things that's real to us, as I mentioned a few months ago, we were speaking via Zoom. So we hadn't even had the opportunity to really sit and talk face-to-face, person-to-person. Because 2020 was a different year for everyone with the pandemic. And even as we're beginning to shift out of it, we're in a different stage now, of course, of the pandemic. It's been different for everyone.
True.
How has the pandemic in the year 2020 and even the beginning stages of 2021 impacted your career, impacted your sound, impacted who you are as a person?
I would just say it allowed me to slow down and focus in terms of as an up-and-coming artist, you're trying to find ways to break in, you know what I mean, into the industry, because it takes one thing, whether it's online or in person. So I try to do a little bit of both. I think I ran into you at the BMI Awards one year. So I try to be not only on social media, but I like to go out and touch people. So 2019 probably was my most active year in terms of I'm at a show or a showcase or something at least 2 to 3 times a week. So what this allowed me to do is slow down and say, okay, you don't need to be everywhere. Get a body of work together that you are proud to stand on. Come up with a game plan. Come up with ideas that you can do that allows you to move forward. Because I don't want to, continue to run around the block doing the same thing. I like to level up eventually and get into the building. So 2020 it actually allowed me to repair relationships in terms of just strengthen them within family, and then even just like I said, just to be able to focus and sit down and be able to write, be able to come up with themes for video shoots, come up with an actual rollout plan. Like I'm a major label artist.
I understand that. And that's all the way real. It's funny that you mentioned leveling up, because that's something in my eyes that I definitely see on this journey. I do remember, running into you at BMI Awards, and that's, pretty high skill for those who don't know. So that's very dope to see. And I've also seen you in the, gritty underground scene as well. So it's great to see a great balance as an artist. But in your music, one of the things I respect is the wittiness, the bars. That's something that I love. That's the music that I've loved growing up. Another artist that I have a lot of respect for, and I love their music and artistry, is Benny the Butcher. So it's funny that both of you cats are, you know, Buffalo. So I guess something going on in Buffalo with them damn buffalo wings or something. You know
For
what I'm
sure.
saying?
I think it's like we've been slept on for so long. We ready to be heard and seen.
Okay. But you got a record with Benny.
I do.
You and Benny linked up on a record. Talk to me about that. Give our audience the name of the record and how you and Benny linked up.
So the record's called More Product. It's out now.
You can check it out on TheseUrbanTimes.
Yes, you can. We linked up. Buffalo is not real big, so it's like my barber knows him and his people, so we reached out and we was able to make it happen. He came to the studio that I had at the time, and no lie, he one-take the verse. My engineer was still getting his levels, and he was like, okay, I'm done. And he like, you done? He like, yeah. Okay, we gonna go ahead and one-take that then. So he one-taked it. I didn't even get a chance to see him. Last time I seen him, he was getting ready for the verse. I step out the room and he come back in.
That's hard.
Verse is done. Professional.
Yeah, that's hard.
And he was super cool. He gave us a lot of jewels. There was a couple things that his management team, passed on in terms of advice. And so it was cool just to break bread with them and talk to them and build with them, because as I said, growing up, they were the staple to what we was trying to do in Buffalo in terms of sound and music.
Yeah, that's hard. As you heard a minute ago, I had to mention the buffalo wings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I've been in your area a few times. I've been to Buffalo. I have family, or my wife rather has family. What's the family now? In the Lockport area. So,
I'm familiar.
You got to fly into Buffalo to get to Lockport, X, Y, and Z. And I love chicken, dog. Like that's like growing up. Philly and me, I love cheesesteaks. I can eat a cheesesteak every single day, chicken or beef.
I think Buffalo got the best Philly cheesesteaks too.
No. I could eat chicken wings every single day. You know what I'm saying? I need flats. You know what I mean? But I need them well done. But I can eat chicken wings every day. Give me some ranch. I'll take blue cheese if it's all you got. But I can eat wings every day. I know you had an Anchor Bar in Buffalo. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Some folks are ignorant and they don't know Buffalo wings are called Buffalo wings because that's where they were originated from.
Yes.
It's not no damn buffalo. I've heard folks say, "Oh, that's not a buffalo." No, it's not a buffalo. You know, like they were originated in Buffalo, and some people say the Anchor Wings or the Anchor Bar had the best buffalo wings. Yeah. What's your thoughts on a buffalo wing? What's the best buffalo wing spot in Buffalo, and overall throughout your course of time? What's the best place or the best franchise that has the best buffalo wings in your opinion?
People do say the Anchor Bar, I think, because it's the most naturally known. When you go there, it's downtown, so it's accessible. But me personally, it's a pizza spot called Just Pizza. I like they chicken wings. Okay. And to be honest, like I like barbecue wings more than I like buffalo wings in terms of that sauce.
I'm not mad at that.
In terms of that, but yeah, I say Just Pizza, Lenova. They got good wings as well. It's not too many places you could go and not get a good chicken wing. Okay,
what would you say down here? Have you had a superior wing down here? You got your J.R. Crickets down here. Of course, folks do the American Deli. I like J.R. Crickets myself. You got your wing stops and things. What's the best chicken wing, buffalo wing spot you've had down here?
Wing wise, I say American Deli, but it depends which one you go to. They don't all cook them the same.
Okay.
And my fiance, she makes me drive around the different ones to pick out. She don't like certain ways that certain places do them.
I'm not mad at that.
So I would say American Deli. And then there's some smaller mom and pops chicken wing places that I go in. I probably stop in and they taste good, but I can't think of the name offhand.
Okay. One of our, outside of music, I say one of the things we speak on about the most, whether it's via text or social media, is sports. Man, we do a lot of sports talking and things of that nature. Basketball season is coming to an end, but here in Atlanta. Our Atlanta Hawks had a great season.
Yeah, they surprised a lot of people. Probably everybody but themselves.
Phenomenal season for what our Hawks did. And it's safe to say that they had the city on fire. You know what I'm saying? It's safe to say that. And you yourself, earlier this year, released a record entitled City on Fire.
For sure.
Know what I'm saying? I don't know if your record, was actually released right before the Hawks kind of took off and really turned that switch. I don't know if the record had any influence on what the Hawks had going on. But can you talk to me about City on Fire? Because not only is the song dope, but you kind of took it back to like a classic for cats our age with NBA jams. That's just, it's something that's just embedded in in your life. If you love sports and you love video games growing up, and you had Trae Young, yourself and Trae Young on the cover,
dynamic duo
and whatnot, and you even have a dope ass card. Like you got your own card, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? Like your own card. You know what I'm saying?
Got to.
So that's hard right there. So talk to me and explain to me about City on Fire and how the whole rollout with that came about.
So City on Fire was actually going to be the second single. Okay. But I have some people who I've let hear the record, and I got text messages as they're beating certain teams. They're like, "Yo, I don't see City on Fire on any of these platforms." So I'm like, we wait. What you waiting for? Well, I was thinking, if you're thinking about it, do it. And these are guys who I respect in terms of their opinion and what they've done in the industry, and even some just friends like, yo, this is who don't follow basketball. Yo, this is the perfect time. So it was the way energy work. I think it has something to do with it, just because they did have the city on fire. Okay. Like I was inspired by them, and whether they heard it or not, throughout the city, they was inspired by what we doing as well. So that's what it was. It just was a mutual respect for my second home. You know what I mean? And that's what it was in terms of that. And then with the NBA Jam, that, like you said, growing up, who didn't want their face next to Scottie Pippen or Kevin Johnson or Charles Barkley, whoever was on the game at the time?
It's funny. I don't know. It just came out. Have you had an opportunity to see Space Jam 2 yet?
Oh, yeah. We watched it last night.
You see, it kind of, I don't want to spoil too much for folks who may not have seen it by the time we release this interview. But if you think about it, it had a kind of an NBA Jam and steam to it. Like, as soon as I seen it, I'm like, oh, this is NBA Jam. This is modern, you know what I'm saying? It's NBA Jam. Like, so that was hard right there. I know you're also working on a project, and once again, Terrell Thomas, These Urban Times. In this edition of Pull Up a Chair, we pulled up a chair with Buffalo's own Atlanta rapper, Some Guy Named Lee.
Yes.
You're working on a project. Talk to me, and let me know what you can, because you have a new record. I don't want to say a single, but you have an interlude coming out from a project that you're working on. Yeah, it's an interlude dropping. I have a video for it. We took a classic spin on Forrest Gump, and we made it urban in terms of, you'll see it when y'all tune in next Friday, the 23rd. It'll drop on all platforms, YouTube. Okay. So the interlude will drop, and it's just a break. Until we get these other visuals out and ready for y'all. Okay. So we plotting, we planning, we praying, and we coming. Okay. And finally, before I let you go, man, you're also doing things as an entrepreneur with your merchandise. Yes. You got a lot of things rolling. Coloring book, as you see, the bandana. T-shirts and clothing apparel as well. Talk to me about that role as an entrepreneur and what you have going on with your merch. It's just about branding. I've understood, like I go to a lot of meetings and we rarely talk about music. We talk about everything else that pertains to getting somebody to enjoy you. So it's like, okay, what merchandise can I do that represents Lee? I got kids, coloring books, puzzles, notebooks for back to school, colorful shirts that's usually in yellow or pink or blue, which my daughter's favorite color is pink, my son's is blue, and then my color is yellow. So we incorporate all of these things into what we do. And then even like the basketball cards. We did that because City on Fire. We did NBA Jam, it's basketball. Put the contact information on the basketball card. Once again, growing up, I either wanted to be an NBA player or I wanted to be a rapper. You know what I mean? So I chose the latter. But now I got my own card now. So that's why I did it. God works in mysterious ways, man. Please let our audience know how they can check out your music, how the music you have already out, how they can stream that, how they can check you out via social media as well. SomeGuyNamedLee.com. I am SomeGuyNamedLee on Twitter, SomeGuyNamedLee on Instagram, Facebook, all social media platforms. And if you see me in the streets, what up? You know what it is, These Urban Times. We appreciate your time today. Thank you for pulling up a chair with us. Once again, shout out to Bel Air. Shout out to Some Guy Named Lee. Stay tuned. We'll be bringing you a lot more for this brother and a lot more dope guests and dope talent.
Thank you, thank you. Shout out to you as well, man. We recognize what you're doing as well. We got to give you your flowers as well, man.
Much love, player.
Respect.